longer to get it set up than it usually does, but we're here now and everything is fine. Hey, howdy, how's it going? How are we doing? My camera is crooked again, so I'm just gonna quickly, oh, not like that. It's fine, it doesn't matter, nothing matters, it's all fine. Hi, it's Wednesday, and I have no idea what's happening right now. Hope everyone's doing well. Travis, thank you for the bubble earlier. Allie, hello. Anyone who might be lurking, hi. We're gonna be doing more Wytchwood today! I think we will probably get this done this week. If not, like, start of next week. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah, that's my screen saver. Different lengths on both sides, and I hate it, but I can't fix it. It's fine. Stop dealing with it. I am all over the place right now. Because who needs sleep ever? So excuse me if I'm a little more frazzled than normal. I am hoping to be picking up some groceries today or tomorrow. So come Friday should be Cinder Sandwich time. We'll probably do it at the start of the evening stream. So around 6 p.m. Central. Before we do Indie Night. Yeah, I'll make an official announcement on Twitter and in the server and everything like that, so people know what's up. That's the general plan there. It's gonna be Cinder Sandwich time. Yeah, I guess until then, shall we play this dang game? Let's play this dang game. Hope everyone's doing well. It is very cold. I don't know how everyone else is doing with it, but it's very cold over here. It's super windy outside, which just makes the entire inside of the house just frigid, and I hate it because I would like to not be cold. But we are. Anyway, like I said, it's Wytchwood time. I'm excited to play more of this. I really like this game. Right, we're in the mountains now. Forgot about that. Trying to make a silver bullet for the huntsman. How do we do that? We need a bar of silver and one of these, which we have all the ingredients for except our glitter bomb. Where do we get this totemic moon drop from? I mean, we have one, so I don't need to worry about it, but I don't know where it came from. It's fine, I guess. Let's go ahead and get that done. But yeah, new souls that we have to take care of. I think we're working on the wolf right now. And I love our little puppet friend. Little puppet friend is perfect. Okay. What else do we need? We have the hot pot, whatever this is, melting pot. And we still need a puzzle box and silver fox fur. Right. Because we needed a frozen treat, which we almost have enough ingredients for. We need one of these chilled mushrooms. Which I think they were just out and about. I don't think there was any, like, specific item we got it from. I think they just... Never mind, we got them from the logs! Okay. Any more bait sticks? I need more thistle here. If I want to make more of these. Is that not what you want? Oh, right. Snow snares. I'm thinking of the Newton swamp. What do we need for snow snares? There are too many new things for a attention to. Go ahead and make a bunch of those. Three should be enough. Game is much louder than me. I'll move my microphone back down because I think I moved it away. But I can also turn the game down. Is that better? Or is that better? There. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I haven't changed any of the sound settings. I mean, aside from, like, having moved my microphone away from me. Didn't change anything. OBS says, everything's gonna be different now. I don't appreciate that, honestly. Okay. Here. Take a snare. You have a snare. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it. I plan on, in the next week or so, messing around with my settings some more. Well, not just my settings, but, like, stream as a whole. There's a lot I want to change and fix. It's just finding the time and the energy to do it. Get got. Oh no. Zoom is also just arguably the worst about, like, everything. I hate Zoom. Sorry, your settings are all messed up, though. Sad. What am I doing? I've already forgotten what I was trying to make. Frozen treat, that's right. Okay. We have our treat. What else did I need? A puzzle box. Which I have everything that I need for that. Great. Our goals are always to do a murder. Thank you. Hi, TK! How's it going? How are you doing? We need to find ourselves a fox that we can shear. Welcome in, friend. Ooh. I wasn't making it up. They are just out sometimes. Eat it, dog. Eat the treat. Good puppy. Give me that silver fox fur. Let's go! Okay, I think that's everything we need for the silver now, right? Got the alchemical alloy. And now we got our dang silver bullet! Perfect. He is outside the tavern, isn't he? So. Well, I hope whatever is making it be so changes up and makes it be an okay day. Lunch is important, though. Doing a food is good. So props to you for taking care of yourself. Here's our boy. Abraham's beard, you're right. What I need is a silver bullet. Hey, it got you. Also, y'all. Grip it and rip it. This is perfect. The wolf won't know what hit him. I'll meet you at the Darkwood, and we'll put an end to this terror once and for all. With bullet and blunderbuss in hand, the huntsman jogs off down the road towards the swamp. Sure hope he finds his bravery along the way, or it won't matter what sort of slugs he's slinging. Travel to the Darkwood, north of the swamp. It's swamp time. It's time to play Darkwood again. I want you to go into the passage. Why are you going behind it to go into it? I don't understand. That's all the portals open, though. That's exciting. To the swamp. We're gonna have to move that troll unless the troll has moved himself. Which is a possibility. It appears that the troll has moved himself. I think this is where the troll was. I mean, probably. I know nothing about guns. So quite possibly it's a mismatch, but you know what? It's fine. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong with this whole situation. It's gonna be just fine. Hey, bud. Find yourself looking down the gaping mouth of a gun muzzle. Who's there? Show yourself! Congrats to Opal! I am glad that she has woken up. She's remembering that she's a dragon, but hasn't fully remembered if she's eating green things. Don't you point that thing at me. Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. It's just so darn dark here. I can hardly see my own shadow. Why do you think they call it the Darkwood? Keep your head on your shoulders, lad. We've got a big bad wolf to bring down. Right. I'm totally not afraid of a vicious 7-foot-tall killer who makes his home in a forest as black as night. Not eating for 6 months will make you eat the darndest things. I suppose so. Forgot she's been asleep for that long already. She did it so bad. Opal, has anyone told you that you fucked up, my girl? Opal. You need to concentrate on the task at hand. We only have one silver bullet, and if the wolf catches even the smallest whiff of her plan, it's curtains for us. No pressure. So what exactly is the plan? The wolf is waiting in this cabin. I'll sneak up and lure him to you with my puppet, just as I did before at the tavern. Meanwhile, you'll find a good hiding spot and ready your gun. This time I won't wimp out. I've got the silver bullet. So, you know which way to the wolf's cabin? I can't really make out a path or anything. Let me worry about that. You just get yourself ready. Good, remember. Hiccups. Don't miss. Gonna miss. Kid's gonna miss. Okay. We have an owl. We have crows. It is very dark here. Squeeze through the gaps in the trees and duck under claw-like branches. We've somehow managed to end up right where you started. I'll never make head nor tail of these pathways. Perhaps I should ask someone with a bird's eye view. A keen-eyed owl inspects you from its roost. Who? Well, who to you too? I wonder what it is you're trying to say. Avian lexicon. How do you make? We have blood. We need a stuffed burb. And we need another red feather. I have snap traps for the red feather. What do I need for the blue feathers? I am short a single trap to be able to collect enough of that. Great. Let's leave the Darkwood. We just got here and now we have to go. It's fine. I mean, these are the last 4 souls that we're having to collect. I imagine there will be a lot of running back and forth for us. We have to come back here anyway. We'll collect some thistle then. I think some of the issue with the sound as well is just I am speaking a lot more quietly than I normally do because I am tired. Village. No, not village. Mountain. I didn't get a rest. I didn't. Well, I slept a little bit. I had some real fucking weird dreams last night, and so what rest I got wasn't particularly restful. So I'm just cruising. It's fine. Get got, bird! Oh, I don't have a ton that I have to do today, so I plan on just kind of lounging about. Maybe getting some sleep later. Hopefully getting some sleep later. That is all we need for the red feathers? Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, I had some weird dreams last night when I did fall asleep. So I got some sleep. But Lamia and Diva were both just being super weird and disruptive and a pain in the ass. I need blue feathers, which we get in the forest, not in the village. I don't know why I'm here. Forest time! But yeah, Devo just kept, like, chirping all night. He was making a noise that I haven't really heard him make before, and so it kept waking me up, because I was like, what is happening right now? And then, Lamia's been doing pretty alright, and was just super, super excited, I guess, and was, like, jumping around, and yelling, and just wanting to play a ton, and I was too tired to play, but I, like, I have a couple of toys that are, like, on strings or whatever, and so I was, like, laying in bed and just, like, wiggling it at her, and she was happy with that, she was very content with that, but then she decided that she needed to, like, stomp on me constantly, and I was just like, it's great. And I'm just happy that she's feeling better. Right? Yeah, no, 100%. They need to understand, and they're not gonna. Lamia's been being an absolute butthead the last couple of days, right? So we finished her medication last week. And it usually takes a few days. Gotta make a family meeting. I'm sure they will understand. But no, like, so it takes her a couple of days to rebound after the medication regimen. Makes sense, right? I think we all get a little tired at the end of our, at the end of an antibiotic regimen. Whatever. And it's usually, like, the first, like, 2-3 days after she finishes it that if her infection was gonna come back, it would. That is how it's been the last 3 times that we've done this. But she has been fine. Yesterday, she wanted to play with me, and I was busy doing whatever I was doing. And then she started hopping in and out of the cat box, but not trying to go to the bathroom or anything. She would hop into it, look at me, and then scream, and then hop back out and look at me and scream again. And I think at this point she knows that I will come over to check on her if she's screaming at the cat box. So anytime, yeah, just playing, absolutely. I would go over there, and she would hop away from the cat box and, like, roll around with her toy and then look at me again. And I'm just like, ma'am, you cannot do this to me. And she was doing it this morning until I, like, picked her up and set her in my lap. And then she was cozy and content, and now she's asleep over here. Just happy as can be. Not the piss baby gremlin howling. It's not a good goof. It's the kind of goof that stresses me out. But yeah, no, so she's learned how to do that, and I hate that. Hate that. It's miserable. I hope she gets over that real soon. No, I'm just gonna have to set more time aside, for her during the day, which is fine and acceptable, and I am more than happy to do that. she and I just gotta work out when we're gonna do that. Because the last couple of times, it's like, I've wanted to play with her, and she's been like, no, I'm sleeping now. And it's like, well, alright. And she'll be like, I want to play now, and it's like, well, I'm busy now. It's fine. We'll figure it out. You wave your linguistic scroll at the owl, magical quill at the ready. Hold on a second. Right? It's either I'm busy or I'm sleeping, which I guess would still constitute as me being busy. Nah, she's a turd and I love her to death. Sorry, I'm trying to plan the grocery trip, right? And we're picking up one of the cars today because it should be actually properly fixed. So depending on when my ride is available, we might have to call stream short. Well, speak up. Hoo hoo hoo! Quill scribbles across the parchment of its own accord, translating the owl's hoots into something more understandable. Not my car. It is the car that I cannot drive. It's the Mazda. It's a stick shift. But we will have a second functioning car. So that does make it a little. It makes it a little better. It's not my car just yet. We're still working on getting that done. It is happening though. It's just been a matter of we haven't been able to get it to where it needs to go because we haven't had extra cars to take it anywhere. But we're heading in the right direction. Okay, we can stream for another half hour. I don't know how to drive stick. Only because all of the cars that we've had, all of the like manuals that we've had up until now have not been tip-top shape, and I haven't felt comfortable like learning stick on them. At this point, I don't know that I can because my knees are so fucked up. But I am not opposed to learning how to drive a stick shift. It's just giving me the opportunity to do it, honestly. But also not knowing if my knees will be able to handle it. We'll see. So yeah. We can stream for another half hour and then I'll have to go. So we can do some stuff. It's gonna be great. My dad is a great driving teacher, actually. Like, I mean, I loved how he taught me how to drive. It always just made sense to me. I love my dad. I love my dad. Taught your sister how to drive a stick and then the transmission broke. Oh no. Oh no. This was never meant to be. She's just not allowed to drive a stick shift, I guess. Oh boy. Alright. The quill scribbles across the parchment of its own accord, translating the owl's hoots into something more understandable. Walk warily, naive neighbor. Exploration seldom escapes notice. What does that even mean? I thought owls were supposed to be wise. Do I squeeze through the gap? Okay, never mind. Trapped. I'll need to find a path through the owl. Are those cardinal directions? Oh! West, west, north, north, east, south, east, north. West, west, north, west, west, north, north. Okay. West, west, north, north, east, south, east, north. Got it. Nessun. So we got west. And then west again. And then north. And then north again. And then east. And then south. And then east. And then north. Was it in the quest objectives? Are you kidding me? He's expecting little Red to come and knock in. In my defense, my microphone covers up the top right corner of my TV, which is why I need to move everything around. I need to figure out how to get my microphone close to me without it being on my desk so I don't punch it all the time, but also not in my face. It's nice that they did have it up there, though. Too bad I just didn't notice. We'll need to use the puppet to lure him into the huntsman's ambush. Right. Punching it. But that was a fun sound. I need a boom operator. Just get somebody to stand next to me and constantly move the microphone to follow me around. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. Look, if I had the money to afford somebody like that, everything would be perfect. Also, it's our little puppet. You puppet the red hooded doll to the door of the wolf's rickety cabin. An evil light glows from within, casting eerie shadows on the ground. Her name would have to be Mike. Alright, well, if you know a boom operator named Mike, who, I can't even joke about, like, who works for credit, because people deserve to be paid for their work. Can I get some room tone for a minute? You lift the puppet's head to peek through the window, spotting chewed bones and torn rags littering the floor, but no sign of the wolf. Suddenly, yellow eyes stab out of the shadows. There you are, my delectable little pork chop. I was beginning to think you had forgotten about me. Through the strings of the puppet, a chill runs down your spine as your animal instincts can't help but scream one thing. Run. Ah! Preferring to hunt under the cover of darkness, the wolf pauses to snuff out a glimmering wisp. You'll need to use these wisps to your advantage if you hope to outrun the wolf. Oh, I see. Okay. Ah! The wolf's claws close around the puppet as he opens his jaws wide to swallow it whole. Before he can snatch up the doll in his teeth, you yank its invisible strings, pulling the puppet out of his grasp and back to your hiding spot. Drat, I'll need to start over again. He's fast, but the wisp light might be enough to distract him. That's fair. I should have realized that those lanterns were there for that reason, but I was also like, I gotta go back the way I came. This is fine. It's all fine. Hi, Arcade! We missed you, too. How are you doing, friend? How's it going? Seems like you've been busy, so it's understandable. Where is it? There it is. Ah! Okay, everything is fine? It's all fine. Everything is fine here. Fucking hell. Ah! Yeah, hi, Arcade. Welcome in, friends. Arcade friends. Arcade's here, y'all. Okay, okay, I know where everything is now. Not the yawn. Oh, I kind of know where everything is. He's the biggest and stompiest boy. How dare he try to hurt my little puppet? She's so cute. I just want her to be safe. Some of these lanterns are just so far away, though. Hi, Ghosty! So many friends. How's everyone doing? Hi, everybody. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. At your command, the puppet comes to a halt at the center of a moonlit clearing. The wolf bursts out of the shadows, gripped by ferocious rage. There's no place left to hide, little piggy. You're mine now. All mine. Can we get a shout out for Ghosty, please? I know, like, I feel like at this point, most of us follow each other. But Ghosty's really new in the community and we like Ghosty. Thank you, Travis. How was Valorant the last time you played? I mean, I know I don't gotta, but I would like to. I'm a gonna. But yeah, Ghosty's super wonderful and awesome and just a fun person to be around. Go check him out if you haven't yet. But yeah, how's it going? How are you doing? I am doing alright. I'm super sleepy today. We're gonna do a short stream as well. I'm gonna end in about 20 minutes. I got some stuff I gotta do this afternoon. But, yeah. Last time you played on stream was fun. Last time you played in general was a loss. Oof. Can't all be winners. But yeah, hi friends. Welcome in. It's a sleepy day today. We're only gonna do this for a little bit of time because I gotta go to the grocery store. Also pick up more hair dye because, like, I'm getting a little too blonde for my liking. But, yeah, it's nice to see all of you. Bearing his fangs, the wolf pounces into the air with tremendous force. That was terrifying. The sound of thunder roars loudly from across the clearing. Crows scatter into the night air and the dark wood falls silent. Blinking in disbelief, the wolf staggers to a stop. He glances down at his chest where a crimson spot blossoms out onto his vest. The huntsman reveals himself from the bushes, holding his smoking weapon anxiously. You shot me! The beast crashes to the ground, exhaling his final breath. His glassy eyes transfix on the full moon high above. Hesitantly, the huntsman boggles at the wolf before a triumphant grin crosses his face. Not too hot chocolate. Just give it a couple minutes, I guess. Or you could be a monster and water it down with an ice cube. I did it! I actually did it! I defeated the wolf! Don't forget that you had some help, kid. This villain won't hunt any longer, and that's what really matters. Go get the caffeine! Do it! As the huntsman strikes a courageous pose atop his trophy, something pearly white falls from the wolf's mouth. The tooth! Give me that teeth! You pick up a glistening fang, broken by the wolf's fall. From deep inside the bloodied tooth, you can faintly hear the whimpering of dog, soul of the wolf. Hold on just a second. Getting more messages about things. Goodness. Okay. Can you hear the hunter's little do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do? Because they're very cute. Now the barmaid is safe! Hold on. That's very precious. We did eat! The good doots! We love the good doots. Great, well we've killed the wolf. We can probably start... We can start at least one more of these. Like I said, I'm trying to be mindful of the time. Village market. Let's go for the hogs. First murder done. GG, y'all. Hogs are up this way, I think. Probably. You won't let me go through. I have to talk to you. Workers only, scram! You... Okay, so where are the hogs then? Are they outside the butcher shop? Who are you? Spare a coin for the poor. Clinging to a raggedy shawl, the old panhandler holds a tin cup with trembling hands. Alms for the poor. Yeah, sure. You bow your head respectfully to the aged fellow, dropping in a coin into his cup. From under his ratty hood, the man gleams a silver-toothed grin at you. Thank you, kind miss. Penny for your thoughts, old-timer? I'm afraid my thoughts are a little muddy as of late. Can't seem to recall what day it is or when the last time I ate was. Last I remember, I was working at the old hog farm with the other unfortunates. Not quite sure how I ended up back here on the streets. I've had more than a few memories abandon me as well. Say, I must have left a few of my things behind at the farm. Misplaced my boot and, well, I can't remember what else. I don't suppose you'd do me the kindness of taking a look around the place for me. I'm not as spry as I used to be. At the hog farm, you say? Guess it wouldn't hurt to take a peek. Maybe they have a lost and found. Bless your heart. Do you remember that you'll need permission to get through the gates? Those hog sisters run a tight ship. You'll have to go talk to the big hog who runs the butcher shop here in the market. She'll set you up with a work slip. The hog runs the butcher shop? The chopping block is what it's called? Please. Hi. Hello. Big pig. Chopping through a hawk of meat with a gigantic cleaver, the surly-looking swine merely grunts at you when you approach. Excuse me, I heard that you were the one to talk to about getting a work slip? That what you heard? Well, you heard wrong. You got enough good-for-nothing workers. Now buzz off. Glance at the halo of flies buzzing around the pig's scalp. Listen, there must be some way to get a slip. Well, I am running low on ingredients to make the summer sausage, and none of these nincompoops can hold two thoughts in their heads. Tell you what, you give me the things I need and I'll give you your precious work slip. This looks extremely unsanitary. Unique sausage, to be sure. We have eggs, we need skipper scales, and a roast beast. Do I have what we need for the roast beast? Practically, yeah. We just need which spice? Got that. There we go. I'm sure it's fine. Don't worry about it. The grossness makes it taste better. Let's go ahead and make a couple of these. Forgot I need 2 wicker work for the crab traps. Okay. Time to go to the docks. Gotta get us some skipper scales. It's good noises. They're good noises. I adore this game. As I have previously stated, is very good. The sounds are lovely. The music is fantastic. The art, obviously, gorgeous. And I'm super picky about crafting games. But this is nice. Like, there's enough that you have to, like, wander around. You have to wander around, like, often to pick up supplies. You don't usually have everything that you need all the time. But you can still gather enough that you can kind of get through stuff fairly easily without having to, excuse you. Without having to, like, constantly be running around trying to find stuff. Sea shanty music. Good stuff. Would highly recommend this game if, people are looking for something fun and cute to check out. Don't clamp. No clamps. I need... Right? No, 100%. Yeah, no, this one does a very good job. Would recommend. I haven't played Sea of Thieves, but I know a lot of people who really, really dug it. Does it have good music? You can honestly hook me into most games with, as long as it's got a good soundtrack. I am looking for a fishing line. That makes sense. Well, maybe same with me. I am a pirate. Arcade, you can't just tell everyone that. It's a secret. Am I? There it is. I'm like looking directly at it. My goodness. Good morning, Lamia. It's a secret. Perfect. 10 out of 10. This is why I like y'all. Oh, maybe I didn't need as much as I have here. I also need people to stop texting me constantly if it's not super imperative that I know what's happening. Well, that was unfortunate. Crab got to it before I did. It's fine. It's fine. We're just being chased by a deep one. It's good. Don't even worry about it. Practically. Look, it's one thing for y'all to do it. It's another for my phone to be blowing up with it. What else did I need? What else did we need? It was just the scales, wasn't it? It's literally right here, and I'm just not looking at it. We have the roast beast, we have the eggs, and we have the scales. Get me back into the village. Can I get the bestie shanties? You are a pirate from Lazy Town. Lazy Town do have some bops, though. Listen. They're still labeled as a deep one, but probably just takes a lot to change the text constantly if you're going from deep sea to shore all the time. Being a deep one is a state of mind, not a physical presence? What am I saying? Please stop me. There was a Vine, with a Lazy Town song. I think it's like, that's how you make a cake or whatever. The cake song that Lazy Town has. But it was like paired with some like T-Pain song or something like that. It's very good. I'll have to find it and post it. I'll have to post it in the Discord or something. Because it's very good. Thank you, Travis. Never mind, I don't gotta do shit. I have the best mods, basically, is what I'm saying. Alright, let's do this. And then, I mean, yeah, always. Hi, Vano. Tell you what, get me the things I need and I'll give you your precious work slip. Here's that roast beast. Plop the sweet-smelling hawk down onto a relatively clean section of countertop. Pig grunts in acknowledgement. Take my eggs. You push the basket of eggs towards the hog. She holds each one up to a candle flame and oinks in apparent satisfaction. Skipper scale. Ooh, excuse me. Your fishy catch still flops about, gasping for water, but the hog puts a stop to that with her hefty cleaver. Up the market and go northeast and give this to my sis at the gate. Smell of hot dung ought to guide you to that spot. I can hardly contain myself. Well, go contain yourself at the hog farm, for I lose my temper. Slaps a work slip down on the table. Take it! Perfect. Unfortunately, we will be ending here. I got some errands that I gotta go run, that I hadn't planned on running until minutes before stream. Because I wasn't sure that they would be happening today. But that's okay. We have played for like almost an hour. Which is better than nothing. Thanks for hanging out during this extremely short stream. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for posting that for me, Travis. Also appreciate that. Now I can listen to Bake a Cake while running errands. It's gonna be great. But let's go ahead and do a raid real fast. I am on caps lock. This is fine. If you're gonna come raid with us, those are the messages. First one has global emotes. Second one has our channel emotes. Y'all wanna go hang out with Smiley. Y'all want to go hang out with Smiley? I think Smiley's doing a co-working stream. Otherwise, I've got the Hot Cross and the Just Ryan doing some Dead by Daylight. Sleepy Fox Ella doing some Animal Crossing. Angry Barman is doing some Super Smash Bros. What a Pun is doing some unpacking. And Emageddon is doing some Gree. Those are all the other people that I have on. But if no one has any preferences or suggestions, we're gonna hang out with Smiley. Gree so pretty? We can do Gree. Let's do Gree. Let's do Gree. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Ghosty and Arcade and Allie and Travis and TK and everybody else. I'll be back this evening at 6 p.m. Central with some more Evil Within. I'm very excited to get into that. But yeah, until next time, have a good one. We'll see you later. Have a great rest of your time zone. Take care of your dang selves. And, yeah. Later, y'all.